Why a lot of Nigerians believe that the only chance Bola Tinubu and the APC have to win the 2027 election is by rigging the election, electoral fraud. What most Nigerians don't really realize is the fact that the script is already playing out in front of us. What most Nigerians don't really realize is that from day one, they went into motion and they started the work of playing out the script for 2027 election. I'll explain this to you in a sense. But if you remember what Dele Farotimi said when this issue between Wike and Fubara started, Dele Farotimi said he doesn't mind. It's just a battle amongst thieves. And the only people that will suffer it are the people of Rivers State. And that's shown to be true. So watch this. Watch what Dele Farotimi said.
Wike and his son are quarreling. And then they all had to go inside the rock to go and meet Oga Kwata. It's meant to be a federal government, right? So what's the substance of this quarrel? Were they quarreling over whether they should have an aggressive tax system that takes money from the rich in Rivers State in order to provide a whole lot of goodies for the people of Rivers State? No. The only thing you've ever heard is that one is overbearing and is demanding much more than it should be taken from the coffers, the people's purse. And these people now took themselves all the way to Abuja to go and report to Oga. See, for me, these quarrels are merely squabbles amongst thieves.
Now that you've seen what Dele Farotimi said, you also remember, I did a video on this a while back, when Ali Baba shared to Nigerians what Obasanjo suggested in a way on how to win presidential election in Nigeria. Ali Baba opened up the eyes of Nigerians to see the plans of politicians when they want to rig election and win elections for them to win political power as a president in Nigeria. So again, watch this.
So you need 7 governors to win an election. Lagos, Bayelsa, Delta, Rivers, Kano, Kaduna, and the CBN governor.
To win at federal level, a presidential
election. You need 7 governors. 1, Lagos. 2, Bayelsa. 3, Delta. 4, Rivers. 5, Kano. 6, Kaduna. 7, the CBN governor.
So you just, without, even if you are a political novice,
you know what all this means.
Understand the permutation.
Exactly. And so when I said, but Kano and Kaduna don't have much. I said, that's for numbers.
For numbers.
That you've seen these 2 videos. Let me lay out to you how the script makes sense. Because on its own, it makes a sense. But putting them together shows you a lot more than you're supposed to see. First of all, Fubara makes an agreement with Wike. Don't forget, Wike also confirmed and confesses to the entire Nigerians that he bought the nomination form for all the assembly members in Rivers State, and also for Fubara inclusive. And you know for certain that there's going to be an arrangement with that. And what is the cause of the fight between Fubara and Wike? Monetary arrangement, as reported so many times by so many outlets and so many analysts. And Fubara gets into office and realizes that if he does exactly what Wike wants, there won't be any money to administer the state. Does that remind you of somebody called Governor Ambode of Lagos State? That sort of arrangement he made with Tinubu at the time, why he was primaried and removed? It's exactly what happened with Fubara. Exactly the same script. And that caused trouble. But also remember, in 2023, Bola Tinubu lost Rivers State. It's now widely reported how it was rigged. He lost it to Peter Obi. Bola Tinubu lost Lagos State. He lost it to Peter Obi. Bola Tinubu lost Bayelsa. He lost Delta State. He lost it to Peter Obi. Bola Tinubu lost Kano to NNPP. And APC won Kaduna. But one thing Bola Tinubu did not lose that they got in their own way to say they would use to rig the election was the election umpire in INEC. So if you go dial back to what Ali Baba said, you need the CBN governor, you need Rivers State, you need Lagos State, Bayelsa, Delta, Kano, Kaduna. Kano and Kaduna is for numbers. That's why el-rufai poses a real threat, and they know that. So now let's come back as well again now. Let's make all of this make sense. Now Bola Tinubu has what? The CBN governor, Olayemi Cardoso, the same person who was his economic planning and budget commissioner in Lagos State from 1999 to 2005. He has the governor of the central bank. The governor of Delta Switch already switched. The governor of Lagos State is APC, even though they lost Lagos State. The governor of Bayelsa is what? PDP. They want to mount pressure. Remember, when they did Rivers State, they tried to do exactly the same thing with Bayelsa State. Diri screamed and said that's not going to happen. Delta State is already cowed because they know they did not win that election anyway. Now, Kano is NMPP. Kwakwanso is actually rumored to be defecting. And now that leaves Kano, Kaduna, that's APC state. And there's rift between the current governor and el-rufai. Now you can see, is it making sense to you now? Putting all of them together, you realize that for Bola Tinubu to win in 2027, knowing that he can only rig the election, there's no other way Bola Tinubu can win the election in 2027 apart from rigging. He needs INEC. He needs the CBN governor because they need the money. And when they did an illegal takeover of Rivers State, what was it about? Rivers State resources. How much have they spent so far by IBAS? Monies they cannot account for. More than 400 billion. Where's that going to? Rivers State money. Now, does that make sense now, Tigi? Are you seeing now? They forced these states to switch over to them. Now, the northern states are showing to be difficult, but they need these states to switch over to them to put the plans together. So the grand plan here is simple. For us to rig this election in 2027, we need to force all the southern states to become APC and then go get some northern states. It solidifies the victory for them. That's their grand plan. That's the grand plan because the assumption is that once the governor switches over, it's easy to rig the elections. It's easy to spread the vote around. Remember what happened in the just concluded Rivers State local government election? APC won what? Is it 17 or 20? And PDP won 3. Does that make sense now? You can see the grand plan of the APC. You can see the grand plan of Bola Tinubu. They went into this planning mode from day one and started executing these plans. That's why it didn't take long for them to suspend Fubara. It was as simple as that. And remember, Wike always said that he was never going to interfere with the governor. Once it's done, it's done. But who's the biggest interference today? Wike. He's done exactly what he's criticized Bola Tinubu of doing, becoming a godfather in the state. Something he said he would never allow. But today, we have seen it. So come 2027, until we understand the deal that Fubara makes, it is clear that Fubara will suffer the same fate as Ambode. Come 2027, it is clear. Fubara's fate is sealed. It is clear. Once the 27 the lawmakers of Rivers State defected to the APC, it was only a matter of time before they're going to impeach him. Only a matter of time. If he doesn't do what they want, he's going to go. Only if the people of Rivers State saves him. So the other question I ask you is this. When you fuse what Dele Farotimi said, the battle among thieves, and you fuse what Ali Baba said, what Obasanjo just said to him, get these states, you'll win the election. Now they need INEC. The same INEC to write the results for them the way the last INEC, the last election was conducted. And they need to put thugs in places to help them cause trouble to rig the election. Remember, every rigging of election happened because election officers are compromised. Every rigging of election happens because the police work together with them to victimize the people. Every election rigging happens because they send thugs who also are themselves victims of these corrupt politicians. For Nigeria to move forward and for Nigeria to fall into their hands again, they need people to work with them. So they need that money. They need the funds so they can bribe people. They can go to the villages and bribe the same people they've impoverished. This brings me to this point. So all of you Nigerians who are going to be used to rig the election in 2027, haven't laid out these plans to you to show you their grand plan. Now you've suffered the consequences of bad governance. To the people of the South, you can see the kidnappings happening in your states, in your villages. To the people of the Northeast, you can see the banditry and the terrorism. To the people of the Northwest, you can see the destruction of your villages and your state. To the people in the Middle Belt, Kogi State, Kwara State, Jos, Plateau State, you can see the bad governance that is administered to you today. To the people of the Southwest, you can see the thugs taking over your city. So before you go about rigging elections for those people, remember, it is your money they stole that they will pay you to go and rig elections for them. Because once you've rigged the election for them, they will only steal from you to put in place for their children, so their children will never suffer. But your children would not have schools to go to, no hospitals to go to, no good roads to drive on. They will not be able to fix electricity for you. And terrorism and banditry will continue and fester. Because the only people this terrorism and banditry favors are the people who are constantly stealing from you. Because they use private jets to fly. They don't use the roads anymore. Because they steal from you and they never fix your roads. The money that they would have used to fix your hospitals and schools for your children, they've stolen them. So when you sell your vote, you sell the future of your children. If they've not been able to feed you today and you're still alive, don't think that selling your vote will make you feed yourself the next day. After all, what is the value of the money you sold your vote for last year or the last time? How much is it worth? How long did you use that money for? Our politicians are not well-meaning for you. When politicians come to you and ask you to rig elections for them and steal elections for them and steal ballot papers for them, you know that they don't have any good plans for you, because that money they pay you, they'll get it 1,000 times more. So now I've unveiled to you all the grand plans of the APC. There is no way Bola Tinubu and the APC will win the election in 2027. All they've put in place today, so far as you've seen, is plans to rig elections. And that's everything that's going to happen. So the question now is, are you going to be a willing participant in the criminality of what is going to happen in 2027? Or are you going to be a blockade against that? Help stop this criminality of the rigging of our corrupt politicians. They have no good plans for Nigerians. The only plans they have is to steal, kill, and to destroy. But you must resist it. So put your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, recommend this channel to others. I will catch you in the next video. Plus, click the notification icon. God bless you. Bye-bye for now.